Hello, namaste, namaste, and welcome to Spotlight on Connected to India. With me, Daisy Rani Subaya from our sunny Singapore. We are going to be focusing our spotlight today on Maharani, a new political drama that is going to be telecast on OTT platform SonyLiv. And with me today, we have the talented cast, Huma Qureshi, who is going to do a fantastic job in the film, I heard, and with Amit Sial, who's been wonderful and talking to us about his honest acting approach. And we're going to have great fun. So, welcome, and let's start. My first question is, I've been noticing, and this is for both of you all, that I've been noticing that there's a lot of, the political drama genre is kind of trending, and we are getting more political dramas now being shown, especially on OTT. And the audiences are kind of enjoying it and liking it and warming up to it. Could you tell me why that is so? Or what do you think the reason is that audiences are enjoying this new genre a lot more?
Well, I don't know if it's a new genre in that sense. I think political dramas have been there since time immemorial, for sure. But the last 2 years have been quite unprecedented in all our lives.
Yeah.
We've all been stuck at home. We don't have access to going to a theater, buying a movie ticket. So I guess what is happening is that one is just, I guess, sitting at home and watching OTT and watching the kind of content that's coming out. I don't know if it's by design or it's just so happened. But I hear you. I mean, for me, one of the shows that I saw, a couple of shows that I saw, one being Scam or Patal Log, were extremely engaging. And somehow, of course, they mirror what is happening, in terms of a reflection of society, but also like really engaging performances that one would have had to compromise on if one would go to a theater and watch it in a 2 hour, 2.5 hour kind of a format. So I think more than political dramas for sure, I think it's a season of the series. I think more than anything else, people are really investing in the long form format. Even as an actor, I think I enjoyed, I'm sure Amit will agree with me, long form formats are so much more beautiful. Like you are able to express yourself as an actor and really invest
more details.
invest in creating a character as opposed to just being like, okay, abhi gana, abhi do scene, abhi ye,
It's not touch and go. It's
not surface. You really can go gradually, really sort of get inside the mind of a character and really like bring out all these things that a conventional film would not have given you that kind of leeway.
So tell us a bit about your career, this whole from Gangs of Wasseypur, in which you were extremely good, and then coming all the way to
I judged Huma when she was in college.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He was a chief guest. He was a chief guest in Gardner College.
And she won, by the way.
Oh, lovely. No, so
always nice to me, Amit. I'll always remember this.
Yeah, so it was already there. You were already.
No, but you were good, man. It was not out of place. You did well. That's why you won.
That's wonderful to hear. So, Uma, what do you have to say?
I don't know. It's awfully a really short time to talk about my entire life and career, in like 3 sentences. But I just feel it's been a very eventful journey. Starting from just being another Delhi college kid who loved doing theatre and loved the movies. I think, I came to Mumbai wanting to do one film. I was like, ek film kar lo, I wanted to prove a point to myself that I could do it. I wanted to prove a point to my family I could do it, my friends. So from where I come from, to say that I want to be an actress was kind of like, really, like, do something with your life. Like, what is this rubbish? So mujhe wo tha hamesha that I wanted to do this to sort of prove a point to myself. So after my first film, I think everything else that's come my way has been like icing on the top. Because I think I just like, mujhe ek film karni hai. Once I want to see myself on the big screen. I honestly didn't have very high ambitions. From myself. And it's been interesting. I think I've also come into the movie business at a very interesting time where so many things are happening. Today as an actor, I have the option of working in like a Hindi film, and I've done all sorts of films. I've done like small independent projects. I've done like big films with a big star cast. I've done like regional films. I've done series. I've done an international project. So I feel like it's such an exciting time as an actor because I don't need to either restrict myself to a genre or to even an industry for that matter. And for that, I'm very grateful. Really, I don't know if I had come 10 years before or whatever, I wouldn't have this kind of playing field. For that, I'm extremely grateful. Like, even in a time like what we're going through, you know, I mean, Amit and I, actors like us, still have a job. You know, we still managed to finish this series between two lockdowns. मतलब मुझे अभी भी याद है last was it June or when I think March, some like just when the lockdown sort of started last year was my first Zoom narration, which was from Maharani, and we didn't even know what Zoom narrations were then. You know, it was so new to us, and I love them by the way now because I don't have to dress up and go all the way across town to meet someone. I can just be like, I just have to put on makeup and I could be wearing pajamas and nobody.
Okay, we are going to zoom down to see what you're wearing.
Later after this interview.
Promise, yeah.
But yeah, so and then when we just opened out, we went to Bhopal, Mumbai, Jammu. And now again, we're in the middle of another lockdown. So we've really been lucky in that sense that, you know, full marks to like SonyLiv and Kangra Talkies and of course Subhash sir, Karan and the entire team of Maharani who managed to pull it off, you know, without any kind of like big episode, which is really incredible.
Just a second back before we officially started, we were talking about you and your method of performing. And more interestingly, because we've seen you in these really, really varied roles. I mean, have to say, it was just so transformative because I think you started off, your post-graduation was with international business.
Yeah.
And then from international business, you transformed yourself into a Tinseltown actor. And then every role you've done, you've transformed yourself. So tell us a bit about your career. How did you go from business to film line and everything in between?
Actually, I belong to a business family. The business is no more, but we were into leather shoes business in Kanpur. I belong to Kanpur, born and brought up there. And I think it all started there when I did my first play for the annual day function at school. And like anybody else, it was the applause and the appreciation of the audience that, you know, makes you wonder whether you should pursue this as a career or not. So it was more like a fleeting thing that happened, but I continued doing it. And it led me to believe that I'm good at it as compared to other things. But then as, you know, parental pressure, call it peer pressure, whatever, acting as an occupation in those days was not a very lucrative one. I'm an ancient person. I was born in 1970. So, I mean, everybody got a little flustered, the family. They wanted me to have a fallback plan. So that's how further education happened. I went to Melbourne, did my PG there, came back and thought that I'd go back to Kanpur, I'd work with my dad. I never had a good, healthy relationship with him. So I really was craving for it. I went back. Soon I realized that, you know, we are two very different individuals. I love him, he loves me, but there's no point trying to work together. So I fled to Delhi again. And I bumped into a very old friend of mine. In Delhi, he was still into theater. And I thought, wow, man, I mean, I need to, you know, I was in a job in Delhi. I got into theater again. And I just couldn't continue with my job. I left the job, opened up a takeaway. So I did all these random things, you know, and finally I landed up in Mumbai, and I thought to myself that, see, I'm 30 years old. I need to do what makes me happy, even if it means struggling for bread and butter. It doesn't matter. And that's what I did. And I got my debut with Tanuja Chandra in a film called Hope and a Little Sugar. And that's how it all started. Then it got into my head. And I suffered for 4 years. I started doing theater again. And I think OTT saved me. The savior was Inside Edge. And from then on, as I was talking to you before, I think because you do a random film or a random act in a film, and then you need to keep waiting for another project to come in because it was not as it was. I was flooded with offers. So you out of practice all the time, and I mean it's very difficult. I mean, a musician can do their riyaz at home. An actor can do, join a theater group. But what else do you do? I mean, you need to be in practice to, open up the Pandora's box from inside of you and let all your emotions out and let acting be a cathartic thing for you, which it is now for me. And so I think when OTT started offering me work, I took it that way, and I stopped my planning and strategies and what I would do and what I should do, what I shouldn't do. Anything that was connecting with my heart, I would do it. And as I told you before, and I recently have started to feel that I know something about acting.
No, but that was very, very interesting what you talked about, being honest. So then talking about Maharani, the role that you're playing, I mean, it's political drama and you're in that. And how do you bring honesty to that kind of role? Talk to us about your role. How do you bring that to this kind of character? Tell us more about it.
Well, obviously, because it's essentially a political thriller drama kind of work that we are portraying right now. I mean, I also feel personally that it's also a very nice love story. It's love for the chair, it's love for the political power. And
I don't know about you using the word nice for that though. Love for the chair.
I mean, see, I believe like if I leave judgments aside, and obviously we all know that absolute power corrupts and all of that.
Right.
So I'm not going into the moral grounds. I'm not getting into the moral grounds of it. I'm just, as an observer, I'm saying that if, say, for example, somebody loves money, right? They actually love it. So they're actually doing something to acquire their love. That's another moral background to it, that, how are they amassing wealth? What are they doing about it? So we're not getting into that. So as far as just the basic observation goes, I think it's also a love story. And otherwise, why would people, do what they do for political power and all that?
Agree. So
and my character is, one of the key players who's for the power. The story for me is, I think, more about Huma's character story, because she sort of comes in without her wishing to do so, and she changes the whole scenario around. So getting into the character, I think I mostly relied on the text, because the text was written in a way, in a rhythm where I improvise a lot as an actor, and this was very challenging for me because I wouldn't want to change anything in what was written, because it had a certain rhythm to it. It has a certain Shakespearean quality to it. And it's real, but so you get to see the politicians, the characters in public spaces and how they behave and how they act there, and then you see them in the private spaces. So usually we don't see politicians in the private spaces because that's not the point. So, but this story has explored that very well. So for me, it's always about, not playing the politician. It's always about playing the person who happens to be a politician.
Agree.
So that's how I approached it, and I relied heavily on the script because it was written perfectly, and it's a strong script with strong lines and scope for being not performing for the gallery, just performing as a to the theater of being a politician. So that's how I approached it.
But that's very interesting, because when you say, I mean, when actors really can honestly say that they love the lines enough to not want to improvise or not want to change, that is a very, very big endorsement that you're giving for the role and for your.
Plus, we were not allowed to change anything. Ask who.
Okay.
You're not allowed.
That's the thing, you see. So that's something which goes back to what you were talking about, honesty. You want to be honest. You feel these lines which you are given, hypothetically, are not honest or not the kind of person that you want to develop your character. Take, for example, the character that you're doing in Maharani of the husband, right?
No.
Sorry. No. Sorry.
The political rival.
Political, yeah. Now, so, and then you want to do that. And you are not allowed to do that. And that kind of puts you in that conflict, right?
But that's the whole point. The lines didn't suck. It's you know, I realized something, and you keep realizing it, but you know, because you're allowed to improvise and you're allowed to, you know, make it a little bit of your own. So you dabble with that. But when you're not, I think it invokes something else from inside of you. It's frustrating.
Right.
Huma can vouch for it,
right.
but it invokes something else. You know, then you realize, oh yeah, right. I mean, if I keep just making it my own, then how will I ever become the other person?
Correct.
You know, how will I ever on screen become the other person? So I think that was a great thing that I learned from working in this project.
That's for Maharani. I mean, when I listen to you talk right now, I mean, you sound like a regular urban Delhi girl. So, but I saw parts of it, and you totally changed into this rustic lady who's taken on this huge challenge and been like totally in shock the way the whole drama unfolds, especially the language, you know, the way you have. You know, yeah, so tell me more about that. How did you take on that language? How did you work with it? Because it sounds so authentic.
Thank you, but that's what I get paid to do. If I don't do that, I wouldn't have a job.
It's not so easy, you know. Everyone gets paid.
Uma, please, learn to take a compliment.
You know, I'm horrible with compliments.
She keeps telling me I don't know how to take a compliment, and look at her.
I don't.
But you know what? It is true, because it's a lot of hard work. And even though people get paid, necessarily you don't have to be good at what you get paid for. But you are.
You're very kind. And Amit has always been, like I said, super supportive from the time he gave me that award in Gandhi College. But no, the point being that, see, I'll tell you very honestly, I think all actors have their strengths and weaknesses. And for me, like, being known to be a good actor is about making right choices and working with the right people. So I rather do like 2 less films in a year, but I really want to work with the right people who will help me be the best that I can be. And if I'm going slightly off also, they really like know how to like, you know, push you in the right direction. And I think, I think we had a winner of a script. We all fell in love with it. I thought each character was so well written. Of course, it's Rani Bharti's journey from being like this village woman to being like the chief minister, navigating that world. But all the characters, whether it's Naveen Kumar, whether it's Huma Bharti, you know, they all bring so much to it, and none of them are cardboard characters. They all, you know, it's not just Naveen and Rani are like sort of adversaries, but they both, you know, they both are very real, authentic characters. So for me, you know, when I have a great character on paper, and then I have a director like Karan, I have a show creator like Subhash, so who I've worked with before in Jolly LLC, you know, I know that they're going to really make sure that I'm looking good while doing what I'm doing. And of course, like, I mean, I always think this, I have a good ear for accent. So if I hear people speak a certain way, if I hang with them for 2-3 days, I tend to pick it up. So yeah, we did a couple of workshops, did a lot of readings, a lot of mehnat went into it. So yeah, I just hope people like it as much and enjoy it. I'm a little nervous right now.
For some reason, there is this idea going around that the show, I mean, your character is based on the political career of Rabri Devi.
Yeah, because they both are women and they both are chief ministers and they both come from Bihar. So if we like in Calcutta, they'd call me Mamta Didi.
Okay. So we are not going to, we are just going to, you know, water off a duck's back on that idea, because exactly. So before we leave, from both of you, just want you to tell us, why do you think we should spend all those hours watching your new political drama?
Amit, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, look at Huma right now, and look at her in the show.
Okay.
Because the first time I walked onto the sets, and she was in the middle of a scene, and I saw her on the monitor. I said, "Oh my God, what has she done?" so she has transformed. So watch for her. Plus, I think I don't want to compare it to other political shows, but from whatever I've experienced during the show and the script and the reason why I signed it, which is Subhash Kapoor, Karan, the whole team of Maharani, I think we have a pretty solid, in-depthful political drama, which is not just about politics. It's about these 4 or 5 interpersonal relationships. It's about revenge, rivalry. It's about winners, losers. It's got all sorts of masala in it. At the same time, it's set in a very realistic tone, and it's got a very good Shakespearean kind of quality to it. I think it's pure entertainment. I think that's why everybody should watch it.
That's wonderful to hear. Huma, your last statement before we have to say goodbye.
Please watch Maharani for us. Us poor actors who work so hard in doing.
There she is again.
Through COVID.
No, I think we'll have to give you a role, where you are really taking compliments and get you used.
I want to play like a Jiva, like
Jiva,
hi guys,
yes,
my fans.
And you can just do it like that. Okay, so thank you so much. It has been really wonderful talking to both of you. And yes, all the best. Break a leg, and we look forward to seeing Maharani on SonyLiv.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.